You just forgot their name. Again. Not a stranger, someone you've seen 3 times, maybe 4, and now they're standing right in front of you, smiling, and your brain is just doing nothing. Complete silence. Not even a letter. So you do what you always do. You smile back. You keep talking. You scan the room for someone who might say it first. You're checking if they have a name tag, and at this point, you're almost considering faking a phone call. You get through it. They leave. Crisis averted. And then, that familiar feeling. Not panic, not shame exactly. Just that quiet, here we go again. If that's you, stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see yourself in social situations. But first, here is the truth. Remembering someone's name is actually the least interesting thing you can do for them. Here's the thing. Forgetting a name is not a sign of low attention. It's a sign of high threat detection. Those are completely different things, and mixing them up is what's been making you feel guilty for years. Let me show you exactly what's happening. The moment you meet someone new, your brain doesn't switch into learning mode. It switches into scanning mode. Threat mode. Think of it like a security system. The second a stranger walks through the door, cameras on, sensors live, every signal being processed at once. Is this person safe? Do they like me? Where do I stand? Am I being judged right now? That system fires automatically. You don't choose it. It just goes. And here's what researchers found. Those 2 modes cannot run at the same time. One wins, the other loses. The name always loses. But wait, it gets weirder. The harder you try to make a good impression, the worse your memory gets. Not slightly, dramatically. The effort to seem present is literally eating your ability to be present. Think about that. You didn't forget their name. Your brain deleted it on purpose. And the more you cared about that conversation, the faster it deleted it. And here's what makes this even more specific. There's a name for what's happening to you in that moment. Psychologists call it the next in-line effect. When you're anticipating your turn to speak, your brain has already left the conversation. It's rehearsing, editing, preparing. And the name? It arrives exactly then. Right when you're somewhere else entirely. You weren't absent. You were already thinking about how to show up. That's not rudeness. That's anxiety wearing the mask of engagement. And the cruel irony? The more you care about making a good impression, the more your brain abandons the present moment to prepare for it. You were trying so hard to be there. That's exactly why you weren't. But wait, here's the kicker. Ask someone who constantly forgets names to describe the last person they met. They won't give you a name, but they'll give you this. The slight shift in that person's energy when a certain topic came up. The thing they almost said and then didn't. The moment they relaxed and became a slightly different version of themselves. They caught all of it. Here's why. There's a concept in memory research called depth of processing, and it comes in 2 parts. Shallow processing. It contains surface details, labels, names, tags on boxes. And deep processing, which contains meanings, emotions, patterns, what's actually inside. People who forget names are almost always deep processors by default. Their brain doesn't stop at the surface. It goes straight for what things mean. What people are actually like under the first impression. A 2014 study on memory encoding found that people who naturally process experiences as stories, with texture, emotion, meaning, show lower recall for proper nouns, but significantly stronger recall for emotional content and relational nuance. They don't remember what someone was called. They remember who someone actually was. And let's be honest about something else. Your brain isn't a broken hard drive. It's a high-end cinema camera. It's too busy capturing the lighting, the mood, the depth of field, to bother recording the serial number on the back of the actor's chair. That's not a malfunction. That's what the camera was built for. And that same wiring, processing people for depth instead of data, is directly linked to higher empathy, higher emotional attunement, the ability to make someone feel genuinely understood, not just acknowledged. You're not missing a skill. You have a different one, and it's harder to fake. But here's something worth knowing. For the person whose name you forgot, researchers found something fascinating. Hearing your own name activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for identity, for how you see yourself, for social pain, the same region that lights up when you feel rejected, which means hearing your name feels like being seen, and not hearing it feels like being erased, not dramatically, not consciously, just quietly. In the background, like a small signal that says, "You didn't matter enough to stick." That's not weakness. That's just how the brain is wired. And the person who forgot your name? They probably replayed the conversation afterwards. They remember what you said, the way you laughed, the thing you mentioned that nobody else would have noticed. They were there. Here's something nobody warns you about. The people who remember every name in the room? They're not always the ones who actually listened. Sometimes they're just the ones who were least affected. Think about the last time you forgot someone's name. Were you bored, distracted, scrolling mentally? Or were you completely in it, hanging on what they were saying, noticing the pause before they answered, feeling the weight of the conversation, the forgetting and the depth? They come from the same place. You can't have one without the other. That's not a consolation prize. That's just how the wiring works. Now, a few things that actually work. First, change the state before you walk in. Your brain goes into threat mode automatically. You can't stop that, but you can shift the question it's asking. Instead of walking in thinking, "How will I come across?" Walk in thinking, "What's one thing I genuinely want to find out tonight?" That single shift moves your brain from scanning for threat to scanning for meaning, and meaning is exactly what your brain is already built to catch. Second, wonder about the name. A 2018 study on elaborative encoding found something stronger. Generating a silent question about new information, not answering it, just asking it, creates a deeper memory hook than repetition alone. So when you hear a name, just wonder silently, is there a story behind it? You'll never find out, but your brain now has something to hold on to. Third, just ask again. Right then, the name isn't usually lost at the moment you hear it. It's lost 5 seconds later. When you decide not to ask for a repeat, because it would be awkward, that decision is where it disappears. Ask again. Nobody thinks less of you. Most people are quietly flattered you wanted to get it right. Now here's what nobody talks about. We live in a culture that treats name recall as a proxy for respect, as if your character can be measured by whether you retained a random sound someone's parents picked before you ever existed. Nobody questioned that rule. Nobody voted on it. It just became the standard, and it's been quietly making some of the most emotionally intelligent people in the room feel like they're failing at basic human decency. They're not failing. The rule is wrong. Here's what I want to leave you with. Think about the people who made you feel most seen in your life. Really seen. Was it the ones who remembered your name? Or was it the ones who remembered what you said? What you were carrying? The thing you mentioned once, quietly, that you didn't expect anyone to hold on to. The name is the label on the box. What you're built to remember is everything inside it. And here's the question worth sitting with. If the people around you had to choose between someone who remembers their name and someone who actually remembers them, which one do you think they'd pick? You already know the answer. If this resonated with you, subscribe. We are only getting started.